Gunshots exploded through the night. Amara Okoye screamed as a bullet shattered the side mirror inches from her face, the car swerving violently as the driver cursed in Korean. "Get down!" the man shouted. She barely had time to react before another shot rang out, the sound sharp, unforgiving, too close. Her heart slammed against her ribs as she ducked, her hands flying to her head while the world outside the tinted windows turned into chaos. Sirens wailed in the distance, tires screeched, men yelled. This was not how her life was supposed to be. 3 hours ago, she had been standing in front of an altar, dressed in white, her hands trembling as she married a man she barely knew, a man whose name carried fear across Seoul's underworld, Kang Jae-Min. And now someone was trying to kill her. "Why are they shooting at us?" Amara cried, her voice breaking as the car sped through narrow streets. The driver glanced at her through the rearview mirror, his expression grim. "Because you are Kang Jae-Min's wife now." Another gunshot hit the car, this one piercing the back window. Glass shattered, spraying across the leather seats. Amara screamed again, tears streaming down her face as fear clawed at her chest. She had known marrying him would be dangerous. She hadn't known it would be deadly within hours. Just that morning, Amara had still believed she had a choice. She had been wrong. The hospital hallway smelled of antiseptic and despair. Amara stood frozen outside the intensive care unit, her fingers digging into the straps of her worn handbag as she stared at the red warning sign on the door. ICU, authorized personnel. Only inside, her father lay unconscious, machines breathing for him. "This situation is unfortunate." The man's voice was smooth, polished, cold. Amara turned slowly, her eyes meeting those of the Korean man in the tailored black suit. He looked out of place in the overcrowded public hospital, too rich, too powerful, too calm. "My father didn't steal anything," she said, her voice shaking. "You framed him." The man smiled faintly. "Evidence says otherwise." "You ruined his life," she snapped. "He worked for your company for 10 years. He's innocent." "Innocent people don't collapse from stress-induced strokes," the man replied coolly. "Your father knows something, and until he talks, this is where he stays." Amara's breath hitched. "What do you want?" The man studied her for a moment, his eyes calculating, assessing. "There is a solution," he said. "One that saves your father, clears his name, pays his medical bills." Her chest tightened. "And the price?" "You," he answered simply. She laughed bitterly, tears burning her eyes. "You want money? I don't have any." He shook his head. "Not money. Marriage." The word echoed in her skull. "Marriage?" she repeated. "To who?" "To Kang Jae-Min." Her heart dropped. She had heard that name before. Everyone had. The youngest underboss of the Kang syndicate. Ruthless, untouchable, a man whispered about in fear. "I won't do it," she said immediately. "I'd rather die." The man's smile vanished. "Then your father will." Silence stretched between them. Amara's knees weakened as the reality crushed her. She thought of her father teaching her how to read by candlelight, of his hands rough from years of labor, of his proud smile when she got into an international school on scholarship. She swallowed hard. "If I agree." "He lives?" "Comfortably," the man assured, "and you become untouchable." She closed her eyes. Her life had always been about survival. This was no different. "I'll do it," she whispered. The wedding was fast, quiet, and merciless. No family, no joy, no love. Amara stood beside Kang Jae-Min, her hands clenched so tightly her nails cut into her palms. The silk gown felt heavy, suffocating, like chains disguised as beauty. She had expected him to be old. He wasn't. Jae-Min was tall, broad-shouldered, devastatingly handsome in a dangerous way. His black hair was neatly styled, his expression unreadable, his dark eyes sharp and cold. He didn't look at her once during the vows. She felt invisible. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Jae-Min finally turned toward her. Their eyes met, and the world tilted. Something flickered across his face. Recognition. Her breath caught. No, it couldn't be. But then he leaned closer, his lips brushing her ear as he spoke, in a voice only she could hear. "So," he murmured, "the quiet scholarship girl finally learned how to survive." Her blood ran cold. That voice, that tone. Memories slammed into her like a wave, lockers slamming shut, laughter echoing through hallways, whispers she pretended not to hear. She stared at him, her heart pounding violently. "You," she whispered. His lips curved into a slow, cruel smile. "Miss Okoye," he said softly. "It's been a long time." Her knees nearly gave out. Kang Jae-Min was her former high school bully. But before I proceed, if this twist shocked you, subscribe now. This story is just getting darker. The car finally screeched to a stop inside a heavily guarded compound. Men rushed forward, weapons raised, scanning the area. Amara stumbled out, her legs weak, her dress stained with dust and fear. Before she could breathe, a strong hand grabbed her wrist. "Inside, now!" She looked up, and there he was, Jae-Min. Up close, his presence was overwhelming. Power rolled off him in waves, dark and commanding. His jaw was clenched, his eyes burning with something she couldn't read. "Why didn't you tell me this would happen?" she demanded, yanking her hand free. "I could have died." He stepped closer, towering over her. "You agreed to be my wife," he said coldly. "This is the life that comes with it." "I didn't agree to be shot at," she shot back. His eyes narrowed. "You agreed to belong to me." Her chest burned with rage. "I'm not your property," she snapped. "I was forced into this. You know that." Something dark flickered across his face. "Yes," he said quietly. "I do." For a moment, silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken history. Then he leaned down, his voice low and dangerous. "And since fate seems to enjoy its jokes," he continued, "you will learn very quickly that being Kang Jae-Min's wife is far more terrifying than being bullied in high school." Her heart trembled, but she refused to look away. "Then you should be afraid," she said softly, her voice shaking but defiant, "because I am not that girl anymore." Something shifted in his eyes, and for the first time Kang Jae-Min looked unsettled. The doors to the mansion slammed shut behind Amara, sealing her inside a world that felt more like a fortress than a home. Cold marble floors stretched endlessly beneath crystal chandeliers. Armed guards lined the walls, their eyes sharp, their hands never far from their weapons. Everything about the place screamed power, control, and danger. Amara hugged herself as she stood in the center of the massive living hall, her heart still racing from the ambush. "This place looks like a prison," she muttered. "It is," Kang Jae-Min replied flatly. "Just a luxurious one." She turned to face him. "You enjoy this, don't you? Watching people tremble around you." His jaw tightened. "I enjoy survival." He removed his suit jacket slowly, rolling up his sleeves like a man preparing for war. The sight made her stomach twist, not with attraction but with fear mixed with anger. "You recognized me at the altar," she said suddenly. "Why didn't you say anything?" He paused. "That wouldn't have changed the outcome," he replied. "It would have changed something," she snapped. "You bullied me. You made my life hell. And now you own me?" His eyes flashed dangerously as he turned fully toward her. "I don't own you," he said sharply. "You are my wife. There's a difference." She laughed bitterly. "Don't insult me. You bought me the same way your people buy loyalty, with fear." Silence fell heavy between them. Then, unexpectedly, he spoke, his voice lower, edged with something unfamiliar. "You think I wanted this marriage?" She stared at him. You could have refused. No, he said. I couldn't. Her brows furrowed. Why? Because weakness is punished in my world, he answered. And love, he scoffed. Love gets you killed. Her chest tightened. So instead, you marry someone you once tormented, she said. That's your solution. He stepped closer, invading her space. You weren't innocent back then either, he said coldly. Her eyes widened. What? You pretended not to hear, he continued. You pretended not to see. You acted like you were better than everyone. That's a lie, she shot back. I was scared. His voice dropped. So was I. The admission hung in the air, shocking them both. Before she could respond, hurried footsteps echoed through the hall. Boss, one of the guards called. We found the shooter's vehicle. It belongs to the Bayek Syndicate. Jae-Min's expression darkened instantly. They're testing me, he muttered. Amara's heart skipped. Testing you how? By seeing if killing you will break me, he said. Her breath hitched. You think this is about you? He looked at her, his gaze intense. In this world, everything is. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She lay on the massive bed in the guest wing, not the master bedroom, something Jae-Min had ordered without explanation, staring at the ceiling as unfamiliar sounds echoed through the mansion. Footsteps, murmured Korean, distant doors opening and closing. She felt like an outsider in her own marriage. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Unknown number. You don't belong there. Her fingers trembled as another message came through. Unknown. Number. Leave before he destroys you. Fear crept up her spine. She sat up just as the door burst open. Jae-Min stood there, gun in hand, eyes blazing. Who messaged you? He demanded. She flinched. How did you? I have eyes everywhere, he snapped. Show me your phone. She hesitated. I said, show me. Her anger flared. You don't get to order me around. In one swift movement, he crossed the room and grabbed her wrist, not painfully, but firmly. This is not a game, Amara, he said harshly. If you hide things from me, you die. She yanked her hand free, tears burning her eyes. Stop threatening me, she shouted. I didn't ask for this life. His grip loosened. His voice softened, just slightly. And I didn't ask to care whether you survive it. That made her pause. He took the phone, scanned the messages, then cursed under his breath. They're escalating, he said. You can't leave this room without guards anymore. I won't be caged, she said firmly. You already are. The next day, the mansion buzzed with tension. Amara noticed how the staff avoided eye contact, how whispers followed her through the corridors. She's black. She's foreign. She'll bring trouble. She understood Korean well enough to know she wasn't welcome. At breakfast, a woman entered the dining room, elegant, cold-eyed, beautiful in a way that commanded attention. Who is she? Amara asked quietly. Jae-Min's expression hardened. Baek Soo-yoon, daughter of my biggest enemy. Soo-yoon smiled thinly. So this is the wife, she said in accented English. Interesting choice. Amara straightened. Is that a problem? Soo-yoon laughed softly. Only temporary. Jae-Min slammed his hand on the table. Say what you came to say. Soo-yoon's gaze flicked between them. Your wife is vulnerable. Accidents happen. Amara felt the threat like ice. She's under my protection, Jae-Min said coldly. For now, Soo-yoon replied, but alliances shift. As the woman left, Amara turned to him. She wants me dead. Yes. And you still brought me into this. He met her gaze. I brought you into my world so no one else could touch you. Her voice broke. That doesn't make you a hero. I don't want to be one. That night, everything exploded. Gunfire tore through the east wing. Alarms blared. Amara barely had time to scream before masked men stormed her room. She fought, kicked, scratched, bit, but they were too strong. As they dragged her down the hallway, panic consumed her. "Jae-Min!" she screamed. A gunshot rang out, then another. Bodies fell. Suddenly, Jae-Min was there. Blood splattered across his shirt, eyes wild, gun smoking in his hand. "Don't touch her," he growled. One man laughed. "She's just leverage." Jae-Min didn't hesitate. The man dropped. Silence followed. Jae-Min turned to her, his chest heaving. "Are you hurt?" he demanded. She shook, tears streaming. "Why did you come?" His voice cracked. "Because losing you would break me." The words stunned her. For the first time she saw past the monster, and for the first time Kang Jae-Min realized the girl he once destroyed had become the woman who could destroy him. Amara didn't sleep at all that night. She sat curled up on the edge of the bed, her arms wrapped around herself, replaying the way Jae-Min had looked when he stormed into that hallway. Feral, unrestrained, terrified. Terrified of losing her. The thought unsettled her more than the gunshots. At dawn, the door creaked open. Jae-Min stepped inside quietly. No gun this time, just exhaustion etched deep into his face. His white shirt was stained with dried blood, none of it hers. "You should be resting," he said. "So should you," she replied. Silence. Then she spoke, her voice low but steady. "Why did you really marry me?" He leaned against the wall, eyes fixed on the floor. "Because you were the safest option," she frowned. "Safest for who?" "For you," he said, "and for me." "That makes no sense," he laughed humorlessly. "In my world it does." She stood, walking closer, forcing him to look at her. "You recognized me immediately," she said. "Why?" His jaw clenched. "Because I never forgot you." Her chest tightened. "Then why did you pretend you didn't care?" "Because caring is a liability," he snapped. Then his voice dropped. "And because I hated myself for what I did to you." The confession hit harder than any slap. She swallowed. "Say it." He looked away. "Say what you did," she insisted. His voice was rough. "I mocked your accent. I let my friends humiliate you. I pushed you into silence because I was too weak to stop them." Tears welled in her eyes. "You ruined my life. I know. You made me hate my skin," she whispered. "My name. My existence." "I know," he repeated, voice breaking. "And I've been paying for it every day since." She shook her head. "You don't get to decide when redemption starts." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said. "I'm asking for a chance to protect you." Her laugh was bitter. "You protect me from the same world you rule." "Yes," he said, "because if anyone is going to hurt you, it won't be me again." Days passed, thick with tension and unspoken emotions. Amara began noticing things. How Jae-Min positioned himself between her and danger without thinking. How he corrected staff when they disrespected her. How he taught her which hallways to avoid, which names never to say aloud. "You need to learn this world," he told her one evening as they stood overlooking the city skyline, "whether you like it or not." "I won't become like you," she said. He smirked. "You already are stronger than most men I command," she scoffed. "Strength isn't cruelty." "No," he agreed. "It's survival." One night he handed her a gun. She stared at it in horror. "I can't use that." "You won't survive without it," he said calmly. Her hands shook as she picked it up. "I don't want blood on my hands." He stepped closer. "Then learn to aim without pulling the trigger." Their eyes locked. "You don't have to become a monster," he added quietly. "Just don't be prey." The turning point came a week later. Amara was taken. Again. This time it was calculated. She was dragged into a warehouse, her wrists tied, blood trickling from her lip. Soo-yeon stood before her, dressed in white, smiling like a saint. "You're stronger than I thought," Soo-yeon said, still breathing. Amara lifted her chin. If you're going to kill me, do it. Soo-yeon laughed. No, I'm going to break him first. She leaned in. He loves you. Amara froze. That's impossible. He'd burn the city for you, Soo-yeon continued, and I intend to watch. Gunfire erupted outside before Amara could respond. Walls exploded. Screams followed. Jae-min stormed in like death itself. Bodies fell. He reached Amara, cutting her free, pulling her into his arms. I told you not to leave the compound, he said, his voice shaking with rage and relief. She clutched his shirt. I didn't. They came for me. Soo-yeon aimed a gun at Amara's back. Jae-min saw it and did the unthinkable. He stepped in front of Amara. The gun fired. Blood bloomed across his shoulder. Amara screamed. Jae-min! He turned and shot Soo-yeon without hesitation. The woman collapsed, eyes wide in disbelief. Silence followed. Jae-min staggered. Amara caught him, her hands slick with his blood. Why would you do that? She sobbed. Why would you take a bullet for me? He smiled weakly. Because you're not my weakness anymore. What am I then? She cried. My reason, he whispered before losing consciousness. The hospital room was quiet except for the steady beep of monitors. Amara sat beside his bed, holding his hand, tears sliding down her cheeks. You don't get to die, she whispered. Not after everything. He stirred. You cry ugly, he murmured. She laughed through her tears. You're unbearable. You married me, he said softly. She leaned closer. I was forced. And now? He asked. Her heart pounded. Now I choose, she said, but not blindly. He nodded. I wouldn't respect you if you did. She took a breath. I won't be silent anymore. I won't hide. If I stay by your side, it's as an equal. His eyes gleamed with pride. That's the only way I'd have you. When Jae-min recovered, the syndicate gathered. Amara stood beside him, her back straight, her gaze unflinching. This is my wife, Jae-min announced. Disrespect her, and you answer to me. Amara stepped forward. No, she said calmly. You answer to us. Murmurs rippled through the room. She met every stare with quiet strength. I was brought here as a pawn, she continued, but I will not live or die as one. Jae-min smiled, for real this time. In that moment, the underworld understood something had changed. The forced wife was gone, and something far more dangerous had risen in her place. The underworld did not accept change easily. Whispers followed Amara wherever she went now, not the mocking whispers of high school, but the cautious murmurs of men who feared what they didn't understand. She's foreign. She's black. She's dangerous. She changed him. Amara heard them all, and this time she didn't flinch. Standing beside Kang Jae-Min in the council chamber, she felt something unfamiliar settle into her bones. Not fear, not anger. Authority. The long mahogany table was filled with men who had built their empires on blood. Tattoos curled around thick wrists. Scarred faces studied her openly, some with contempt, others with curiosity. One of them finally spoke. With all due respect, the man said in Korean, this is syndicate business. Why is she here? Amara didn't wait for Jae-Min to answer. Because the last 3 attacks on your operations failed due to poor information control, she said calmly. And because one of you is leaking. The room went still. Jae-Min turned slowly, surprise flickering across his face, but he said nothing. The man scoffed. You think you can lecture us? No, Amara replied evenly. I think you've underestimated me. She tapped the tablet in her hand, projecting files onto the screen behind her. Bank transfers, messages, names. You, she said, pointing to a council member, have been selling movement schedules to the remnants of the Bayek syndicate. The man shot to his feet. That's a lie, Jae-min's voice cut through the chaos. Sit down. The man froze. Amara met his gaze, her voice steady but lethal. You thought no one would suspect you because you supported my marriage the loudest, she continued. You hid behind racism and arrogance. Her eyes hardened. You forgot that outsiders see patterns insiders ignore. Silence swallowed the room. Jae-min studied her like he was seeing her for the first time. Dispose of him, he said coldly. The guards moved. As the man was dragged away screaming, Amara didn't look away. Her stomach churned, but she stood tall. That was the moment the syndicate understood something crucial. She wasn't surviving Jae-min's world anymore. She was reshaping it. Later that night, Jae-min found her standing on the balcony, staring out at the glowing city. You were brilliant today, he said. She didn't turn. Brilliant doesn't wash blood off hands. He joined her, resting his elbows on the railing. Does it bother you? He asked quietly. Yes, she said honestly, but pretending innocence would bother me more. He exhaled slowly. You could have stayed silent, lived comfortably. She finally looked at him. I did that once. Silence nearly killed me. His chest tightened. I was the reason you learned silence, he said. And now, she replied, you're the reason I unlearn it. He reached for her hand, tentative. She let him. The final war came swiftly. The big syndicate's remaining forces launched a coordinated strike. Ports, warehouses, banks. Chaos erupted across the city. Amara stood in the command room beside Jae-min, issuing orders with precision. Block the southern routes. Freeze the offshore accounts. Divert security to the docks. A lieutenant stared at her in awe. How do you know all this? She didn't look up. Because I've been studying men like you my entire life. The battle lasted 12 brutal hours. By dawn, it was over. The Black Syndicate was erased. When the dust settled, Jae-min turned to her, blood on his knuckles, exhaustion in his eyes. It's done, he said. She nodded, but her gaze drifted to the horizon. No, she said softly. Now it begins. Weeks later, the press exploded. Kang Syndicate announces internal reform. Foreign woman rises to power in Korean underworld, from forced wife to queen pin. The world argued, but within the syndicate, Amara's word became law. She redirected funds into legitimate businesses, shut down human trafficking routes, rewrote alliances, not out of mercy, out of strategy. You're changing everything, Jae-min told her one night as they sat alone. She met his gaze. Power that doesn't evolve collapses. And what about us? He asked quietly. She considered him, the man who had once broken her spirit, now standing before her stripped of arrogance. We're rebuilding too, she said. Slowly, honestly. He nodded. I don't deserve you. No, she agreed. But you're learning. He smiled faintly. You've become terrifying, she smirked. Good. The final test came unexpectedly. Her father woke up. Amara stood beside his hospital bed as his eyes fluttered open. My daughter, he whispered weakly. Are you safe? Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. Yes, Papa. I am. He squeezed her hand. You look different. She smiled. I am. Outside the room, Jae-min waited. Her father studied him carefully. You are the reason she suffered. Yes, Jae-min said, bowing his head, and the reason she will never suffer again. Her father was silent for a long moment. Then he said, Then spend your life proving it. Jae-min bowed deeper. I will. The coronation wasn't official. There were no crowns in the underworld, just acknowledgement. The syndicate gathered once more. Jae-min stood and spoke words no one expected. My wife is no longer under my protection, he said. I stand under hers. Gasps filled the room. Amara stepped forward. I did not come here by choice, she said. I came here by force, by injustice, by cruelty. She paused, letting her words sink in. But I stayed by choice. Her voice hardened. I will not rule through fear alone. I will rule through intelligence, loyalty, and consequence. She met every gaze. Cross me, she finished softly, and you will learn the difference. Silence. Then, one by one, they bowed. That night, standing beside Jae-Min on the same balcony where fear once consumed her, Amara breathed freely. You're the most powerful woman in this city now, he said. She shook her head. No, he frowned. Then what are you? She turned to him, eyes steady, unbroken. I am a woman who survived, she said, and survival is the most dangerous power of all. He reached for her hand, not as a ruler, not as a savior, as an equal, and together they looked out over the city that had tried to destroy her, unaware it had just crowned its queen. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe to enjoy more powerful story like this. Tell me what you think. Would you forgive someone who bullied you if they saved your life?